The sun has set. The day's noise fades into stillness. The world grows quiet, and for the first time since morning, you are left alone with yourself. This is the hour most people fear, not because of the darkness outside, but because of the silence within. In this silence, there are no distractions to hide behind, no screens to numb the mind, no voices loud enough to drown out the whisper of your own conscience. And so we reach for our phones. We scroll endlessly through other people's lives. We lose ourselves in videos that mean nothing. We do anything we can to escape the one thing we need most to be present with, who we truly are. But the ancient Stoics saw this evening hour differently. To them, it was not a time to escape, but a time to return. It was sacred ground, a ritual more important than any morning routine or daily task. The evening was where transformation happened. Not in the grand victories of the day, but in the quiet examination of the soul. Seneca, the great Roman philosopher, understood this deeply. Before sleep claimed him each night, he would sit in the stillness of his chamber and review everything he had done, every word spoken, every decision made, every emotion felt. He did not do this to punish himself or drown in regret. He did it with the calm precision of a craftsman inspecting his work, searching not for perfection, but for truth. Seneca would ask himself 3 simple questions. What did I do well today? What did I do poorly? What can I improve tomorrow? These questions were not casual reflections. They were the architecture of a disciplined soul. They were the tools by which a man shaped himself day by day into someone worthy of his own respect. And this was not a practice reserved for philosophers alone. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world, sat alone each night and wrote to himself. His meditations were not written for history. They were written for his own soul, a nightly conversation with the part of himself that sought to be better, wiser, and more aligned with reason and virtue. Epictetus, who had once been a slave, taught his students that true freedom is not found in the absence of chains, but in the mastery of one's own mind, and that mastery begins each evening. When you strip away the stories you tell yourself and confront the raw truth of how you lived, did you act with integrity? Did you let fear control you? Did you waste your energy on things beyond your control? These were the questions that separated those who merely existed from those who truly lived. This evening reflection is not about achieving some impossible ideal. It is about becoming conscious. Most people go through life asleep, reacting to every impulse, swept along by emotions they never question, repeating the same mistakes over and over because they never stop to examine them. But the Stoic who reflects each night begins to wake up. He sees his patterns. He notices when anger takes hold, when pride clouds his judgment, when fear keeps him small. And in that seeing, he gains power. Not the power to be perfect, but the power to choose differently tomorrow. True growth does not happen in moments of triumph. It happens in the quiet honesty of self-examination. It happens when you sit with your failures and do not turn away. When you acknowledge that today you were impatient with someone you love, that you spoke harshly when you could have spoken with kindness, that you gave in to comfort when you knew you needed discipline. The Stoics understood that guilt is useless, but awareness is everything. Guilt keeps you trapped in the past, drowning in shame. Awareness sets you free, because it gives you the clarity to act differently in the future. Seneca wrote that we should examine our day as a judge examines a case, with fairness and detachment, not with hatred for ourselves, but with the calm understanding that we are works in progress. When you observe your own flaws, without emotion, they lose their power over you. You stop defending them. You stop making excuses. You simply see them for what they are, and in that seeing, you create space for change. This is emotional mastery. Not the suppression of feeling, but the ability to step back and witness your own mind without being consumed by it. And within this practice lies a deeper truth: gratitude. Even your mistakes are teachers. Even your worst moments contain lessons that can shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The Stoics believe that the universe is constantly offering us opportunities to grow, but most of us are too distracted to notice. The evening reflection transforms everything that happened during the day into material for growth. The argument that upset you becomes a lesson in patience. The failure that disappointed you becomes a lesson in resilience. The moment you acted out of fear becomes a lesson in courage for tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, minding his own soul, that every day is a gift and every evening is a chance to refine the self. He was not trying to impress anyone. He was trying to become the kind of man who could face death without regret, knowing that he had lived with intention, with virtue, and with alignment to something greater than his own comfort. His meditations are proof that even the most powerful person in the world needed this ritual. Even the emperor needed to sit in silence and ask himself, "Did I live today as I should have?" This is the transformative power of evening reflection. It sharpens the mind because it forces you to think critically about your own life. It cleanses the conscience because it allows you to acknowledge your mistakes and release them before sleep. It strengthens emotional discipline because it trains you to observe your reactions without being ruled by them. And over time, it aligns your actions with your values. You stop drifting. You stop living on autopilot. You begin to move through life with purpose, clarity, and a deep sense of peace. In a world that never stops shouting, the act of pausing each night to reflect makes you rare. It makes you powerful in a way that has nothing to do with status or success. It gives you sovereignty over your own soul. While others are lost in the chaos, reacting to every trigger, consumed by anxiety and distraction, you are grounded. You are centered. You know who you are and who you are becoming. And that knowledge is unshakable. The Stoics understood that self-awareness is the foundation of all virtue. You cannot be courageous if you do not know what you fear. You cannot be just if you do not see your own biases. You cannot be wise if you never examine your own thoughts. Evening reflection is the practice that makes virtue possible. It turns abstract ideals into lived experience. It transforms philosophy from something you read into something you become. Every evening is a small rehearsal for the end. One day your final evening will come, and you will lie down knowing that there is no tomorrow to improve upon. The Stoics meditated on this often, not to be morbid but to be awake, to live as though every day mattered, to ensure that when that final reflection comes, you can look back on a life lived with integrity, courage, and love. And the way you prepare for that ultimate evening is by mastering all the evenings that come before it, by never letting a day end without learning from it, by never going to sleep without examining your soul. So tonight, when the world grows quiet and you are left alone with yourself, do not reach for distractions. Do not run from the silence. Embrace it. Sit with yourself. Ask the questions Seneca asked. Review your day with honesty and compassion. See where you succeeded and where you stumbled. Acknowledge what you must improve and release what you cannot change. Let the evening be your teacher, your guide, and your transformation. When you master your evenings, you master your life. For the soul that examines itself each night awakens lighter, wiser, and unshakably free.